Hi Aries, this is your astrology and tarot forecast for October 2014. It's really nice to be with you and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to have a look at the astrological influences that you can expect in October and that you'll be working with, and then I'll draw a tarot card to give you an overall theme for the month. So the first thing in October is that on the 1st, the moon is in its first quarter. And on the 31st, it's also in its first quarter again. And when this happens with a full moon, it's called a blue moon. Now, that's something that's quite rare, and that doesn't happen a lot, so the saying, once in a blue moon. Because it's not a full moon, it's a first quarter moon, there's no actual description for it, but it still means that this is going to be a month that's special, where rare things happen, and where you find something that's quite subtle and meaningful. Now, the first 3 days of the month are going to be very much about you discovering something new about yourself, having a real sense of positivity in terms of where you're going in your life and how that impacts you in work. So you may have a new idea of how you can realize yourself if you're self-employed, how you can implement that to be a pioneer in your field, how you can become the expert and the #1 person on top of your game. So Aries, this really coincides with your innate sense of competitiveness, because you're going to start this month really realizing something unexpected about yourself that will make you #1 and that will take you to the top. On the 4th of the month, Mercury goes into retrograde, and this is something that's quite common. It happens 3 times a year, I should say, rather. And I've made a video on this separately about the Mercury in retrograde phenomenon. If you're interested in that, just have a look at that video. But what it means specifically for you this month, Mercury is in Scorpio in your 8th house, and you're going to find it difficult to communicate with your kind of most inner self, your subconscious mind. You're not going to be so interested in asking the deepest, darkest question and to go over your past and to see what happened then and what happened there and how can I become better. You're much more interested this month about moving forward and achieving and pioneering certain things. On the 8th of October is a full moon, but it's not just a full moon, it's also a total lunar eclipse. And that's on the south side, south node of the moon, which is very much about releasing something. So you're going to feel the ability to release this need to be first. And that's interesting because the beginning of the month, you've worked really hard to be #1 and to be on top. And you achieve that goal, because by the time this full moon comes around, this eclipse comes around, it's almost like I've achieved what I've wanted to achieve, and now I don't need to be so driven and fearful that I will be #1. It's almost like I know that I'm #1, so I don't need to work so hard to do it all the time. I can apply myself when I need to, when I want to, and it's something, I've got the evidence in my life that that's something that I can achieve. So it's good, Aries, because you're able to relax a little bit as a result of your own positive achievements in your life. You always work hard, you're always competitive, but the more positive results you get, the more you can trust that you will be on top, if you see what I mean. You don't have to be frightened that you're not going to achieve in the way you want to. Okay, the next few days, the 9th and 10th of October, see a grand trine in fire in your chart, and that's an area of talent and real ease. And this is great for you in terms of exploring the fun side of your relationship and exploring romance. If you're single, it's a great time to meet someone, the 9th and 10th of October. If you are in a relationship, it's a great time to go on a trip and to have fun with your partner and to do something unusual that you wouldn't usually do. You'll have a wonderful time. The 11th sees Mercury going into Libra in your 7th house of relationships. So again, there's a real area of focus on relationships now, and this month is not just about business relationships or family relationships, it's very much about romantic relationships, having fun with those, really taking them to the next level, and to really just enjoy spending time with someone and being in the company of someone else. You'll get a huge sense of gratification from that. The 13th of October is interesting because you'll feel very, very communicative, and you're going to have a conversation that is really meaningful to you and that will make you feel very much grounded within yourself and at home in your life. And at home in your relationship. Again, yeah. So it could be even that you have a wonderful conversation with your partner who then really makes you feel like, okay, this is the person for me and I want us to get married. Or, you know, this is the man for me and I want to have his babies, or whatever. It's a conversation that causes you to consider and want to go for greater commitment in your relationship life. Wonderful. So yes, commitment, being certain of the person you're with as the one for you. And again, if you're single, you will meet someone who has the potential to be that permanent partner. Between the 16th and the 22nd of October, the same theme continues. It's a week about relationship. But you continue to want to compete again and to assert yourself and to really be, yeah, so, okay. So as the, during this week between the 16th and the 22nd of October, you're not going to be so laid back and relaxed as you have been until now. You're going to start to want to assert yourself again and to be, you know, excuse me, my dog is just barking, the number one person, and that doesn't really help relationship. It's not like if you're with someone, they want you to constantly blow your own horn or blow your own trumpet or whatever it is. They want you to be an equal partner and not want to glorify yourself all the time. So just make sure you keep a lid on that and keep a check on that. Okay, the 23rd of October sees a partial solar eclipse, and that's on the north node of the moon. And so solar eclipses really have to do with the government and the people in charge. And this is in Libra, which is a good sign because Libra is about justice, fairness, creating harmony, and creating peace between people. And what I'm getting via this is that around this time, the governments of the world, hopefully, will create some structure and put some things in place to put a lid on some of these conflicts that have been happening in 2014, and for there to be a period of more peace and less conflict, and for some new rules or new actions to be implemented, that there will be more peace ultimately in the world. The 24th of October sees Venus going into Scorpio, and that happens in your 8th house of sex and you know, the kind of taboo and mysterious, and there's a real focus on you to connect with someone emotionally in a sexual way. So relationships have been a theme, but now you really want to really just connect with that person in a really intense way. It's almost like, you know, sometimes you're with someone and it's almost like you want to crawl inside them to be right, you know, for your souls to connect. And I really get that level of intense desire, that intense desire to connect with someone. And that theme really is flanked and is qualified a little bit by spiritual matters at the end of the month. But before that, the 26th sees Mars going into Capricorn from Sagittarius. And, okay. Right, so the last week of the month is a combination between really wanting to be intense with your partner and really wanting to make progress in work. And those are the two themes you're going to have to juggle at the end of the month. And I see you being really having some friction there because, you know, when you want to be that intense with someone, it's very time consuming because you're very into them and very intense. So work might suffer a little bit and you'll get frustrated because you also want to really achieve something at work and you see yourself as a worker at this end of at the end of October. So expect a little bit of friction. What do I do? Do I stay at home or do I go work? And it's one of those where if you're at work, you want to be at home, and if you're at home, you want to be at work, and being frustrated either way. So just be aware of that. I'm going to draw a tarot card now to give you an overall theme for the month. Let's see what that is. Okay, it's the Knight of Pentacles, and that in reverse, and that's interesting because what that means, it gives me a kind of answer to this conflict between work and relationship. And if you have that conflict come up, then please, what the cards are saying is focus on the relationship side of things. Work will kind of progress by itself. Focus on the relationship and really enjoy that this month. So I hope you have a wonderful October. If you'd like a private reading with me, please visit my website. It's gregoryscott.co.uk. You can also send me an email, which is readings@gregoryscott.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/GregoryScott444. Have a fabulous month, and I'll speak to you soon.